friend of people of Sudan, Mr. Eiva. He's a human rights activist, and he did a lot of work for the people of Sudan and for particularly Darfurians, and he raised the issue of human rights in the Congress and in all the avenues, all the over United States. Andrew Eiva is well known among the Sudanese in United States of America. He's a good friend of Sudanese people. And welcome Andrew to give us a speech. Yes. Here. مدحت تعال جاي يصور واحد.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First of all, we need to thank the people without whom we would not have a cause. The freedom-loving, heroic people of the Sudanese resistance, the SRF, who have kept up the fight against genocide, the fight for freedom, in spite of the tremendous sacrifices and bloodshed of their people. So let us remember first the SRF. The SRF have united 3 years ago. That changed the war. They have now become more effective, and the chance for Sudan to end the genocide is going up. Second, there have been some changes in Sudan in the last year. To understand those changes, let us talk a little bit about what the Nile River Basin strategy of Egypt. As some of you may recall, when the genocide of Nuba Mountains began, the Egyptian UN peacekeepers helped Khartoum soldiers round up and execute all the Christians, all the activists, all the freedom fighters in the city, to take them out and execute them in mass graves. That was Egyptian UN peacekeepers. And that's in Kadugli, in the city of Kadugli, correct. That struck me as an unusual thing. That's not what you would expect from Egyptians. And then 6 months, UN peacekeepers. So 6 months ago, I heard another startling bit of news about Egyptians. I found out that many of the weapons, or most of the weapons, for the Hutus to commit the genocide in Rwanda came from Egypt. So what's going on here? I started studying. When the Ethiopians started to build and plan the Renaissance Dam and the Nakba Dam, Egypt threatened to make a military attack on Ethiopia. So these are strange, interesting developments. And what started to become clear to me, and from talking to Howlett about and before all that began, the Egyptians destroyed more than half of the original Nubia civilization by flooding the south of Egypt and by supporting the flooding of all Nubian lands in northern Sudan. So what became clear is Egypt was destroying the strongest African tribes in the Nile River Basin, whether it was the Nubia with their tremendous civilization and history and numbers, whether it was the Nuba, who had a tremendous resistance movement in the mountains, whether it was the Tutsis, who may be the best black warriors in the Nile River Basin. So Egypt has selectively been destroying and targeting the strongest tribes in the Nile River Basin, not just in Sudan. This is part of the Nile River Basin strategy. Egypt feels a fear. They fear that the upstream peoples of the Nile River Basin will start farming, develop their agriculture, and this will end the Egyptian economy. So Egypt has adopted a strategy of destroying the strongest black tribes, including the Dinka and the Nuer and others, to keep them from prospering from organizing their agriculture, organizing their economy. They're also organizing the purchase of farmlands to deny them to the African people. So this is something, but there's that strategy, as powerful as it is in trouble, because the Ethiopians have built the Renaissance Dam. They refuse to cave into the threats. They are building the Nadba Dam. Suddenly, they don't have enough water to flood and drown the remaining Nubia countryside. This is a turning point in the Egyptian Nile River Basin strategy, and that is why the Nubian people, and even in the Washington area, are more active than ever before in 10 years. They see the hope and chance for victory. So this is not a dying cause. This is a cause gaining strength. The second thing I would like to bring to you is the fight over the G word, genocide. There has been a tremendous development in American culture since 1993. The creation of the Holocaust Museum, the Holocaust Studies Department, and many universities that have developed. All over America, there are maybe 1 million Americans who are willing to do something against genocide. They may never learn that Darfur is in Sudan, but they know that they were willing to do something against genocide. So starting in 2007 and in 2006 was the biggest rally on the Mall, 50 or 60,000 people against the genocide in Darfur. And but since then, you see the numbers have gone down. There has been a strategy to hide the genocide. They come up with new words. They call it atrocities, mass killings, crimes against humanity, ICC. They come up with all these projects to divert attention from genocide. And thus, we now have 2 or 3 or 4 of us white people with you who are willing to stand against genocide, who still understand that it's a genocide. It's no longer 40,000, it's 4. Because that strategy has worked. The State Department has been doing it, and other agencies have been working very hard. People have said that more people are being killed in Congo than in Sudan. There are all sorts of games being played to make the Sudan issue less and less. The people in the New York Times and Washington Post who had been assigned to cover the ground situation in Sudan were removed from their positions 6 or 7 months before genocide number 5 began in the Nuba Mountains on June 5th, 2011. So there has been a plan, and so we are fighting. So many Sudanese, many of you, as I will tell you what the G word can do. In the office of one member of the Black Caucus, we had the presentation of the figures on the genocide, then presentation by Bolgai Deng and Molef and some others presenting how racist the genocide was. And by the end of the meeting, the congressman was talking about sending Stinger missiles to the resistance. That's one office out of 535, but it shows what can be done. The Sudanese understand, the Khartoum regime understands the importance of weapons. One of the first lobbyists they hired was Milton Bearden of the Central Intelligence Agency at $30,000 a month. They took him off the internet and on Google for a while, but you could still find him on Yahoo search, and now he's back on Google too. Anyway, you can look him up. He was in charge of the Afghan covert operation. His special skill was to block Stinger missiles and to block Spanish 120 millimeter lightweight mortars, the 2 best guerrilla arming weapons available in the world today. This mix of weapons would end the genocide in Sudan in 6 months. It's been going on for 59 years. It's time we can end it in 6 months. But it takes those effective weapons to do it. The agencies in government do not like to support freedom movements. Until Afghanistan, they supported 12 resistance movements in a row, and they betrayed and destroyed all 12 until Congress and the people jumped on them on number 13 and forced them to deliver effective aid. So that is something we can change. So this cause can be ended in 6 months, but we have to win the G-word argument. Don't call it a civil war. Don't call it those other things. Always refer to it as genocide. We cannot be stopped on the genocide argument if we fight it. We are winning where the strategic situation is shifting in our favor. And please stop. Wait till the program is over. So we can win this, and the path to victory is clear. We have to win the genocide struggle to make that word stick. We prove that it's a racist genocide. And then I think Congress will be so outraged when they find out what the State Department has been telling them for 59 years, that policy can be changed, and the courageous, freedom-loving Sudanese people can take their place as a successful society in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you think